What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jake, and today we are going to be continuing some questions that I received through my Facebook and YouTube comments. So one simple one that I received from my Facebook was, what is a dividend? When I was discussing stocks with a person, I discussed that I personally invest strictly into dividend paying stocks, so that this is kind of my strategy. So they were kind of confused about how dividends were paid out, what even is a dividend, and we'll go over that here as soon as we get into this video. But if you guys learned anything here today, make sure you hit that like button, you subscribe if you currently are not. I am aiming to hit hopefully 200 subscribers by the end of 2021. I believe I'm at 61, so I would appreciate that. But without further ado, we'll hop right into this, and we'll show you first off where to find the dividends on Robinhood. Now, quick note on this, and I'll give an example. Their information on Robinhood sometimes isn't accurate. I believe it has something to do with how they update their systems. They don't update every individual stock. They kind of update it in bulk. But I'll go over that as well with you as soon as we hop into that. So without further ado, let's get in it. All right, so now we're inside of Robinhood. I did select Microsoft because I did find that the dividend yield was different from Acorn to Google, so I'll just show you that. So if you scroll down to under about, you'll have all this information again, the CEO, where their headquarters is, but right here you'll see a dividend yield. So Robinhood says 0.98, but I already Googled it, and they have a dividend yield of 1.05. So that is $2.24 per share. So a quick Googling is an easy way to ensure that you are correct with your information when you're looking at dividend yield. All right, with that out of the way, first off, what is a dividend? Now, dividends are portions of earnings paid out by a company to certain classes of their shareholders. So you have basically private investors versus common investors, which if you're buying on Robinhood, you are a common investor. Common shareholders can receive a dividend of a dividend-paying company as long as they own the company before ex-dividend date. And I'll go over ex-dividend date. There are quite a few dates if you're really focused in on dividends that you would want to learn. And again, I can go over that if you would like more information, but I am going to be focusing on the ex-dividend date. So let me know down below if you have questions about what the other dividend dates are to pay attention to. So the next part is, how are dividends even paid out, right? So dividends can be paid out either monthly, they're quarterly, they're annually, all sorts of things, and it's typically decided by a board of directors. So they will announce how much the dividend is going to be and when it's going to be paid out. There are a few dates that determine if you are eligible for a dividend payout, but the most important is the ex-dividend date. Now, the ex-dividend date is the date that determines if you will be receiving the next dividend payout. So it's basically, are you eligible for that payout? For an example, if a company pays out their dividend on the 19th of September, if you do not own that stock before that date, you will not be receiving a dividend. Even if you buy it on that date, you need to own it prior to that date. Now you can find out that date. Again, I can go over these in another video, but it's called the announcement date. All right, then there's another thing you need to take note of, and that is a special dividend. So sometimes, very rarely, companies can pay out a special dividend. It's usually higher than the dividend that they normally pay out, and it is very rare, sometimes extremely rare. Some companies will only sometimes pay out one time in their entire history. So, but that is something to also note. Now, this is the big one. So, are dividend stocks better than regular old growth stocks? Well, not exactly. It all depends on what you are looking for, right? So the quick answer is, it depends. Personal finance is, of course, personal. It's what are you looking to accomplish when you are investing? For me personally, I like that steady income coming in, and I tend to, I've mentioned this in other videos as well, but I tend to like that because worst comes to worst, I will have money coming in to feed my family. Say I lost my job, I can focus in on still receiving a paycheck from these dividends if I own enough of them to be able to provide somewhat for my family. Now that does take a large capital to see those kind of returns, but you can always get started and do what is called a drip, and I can go over that here in a second. Typically, if a company is past its growth state and it starts to plateau, kind of, they will start paying out their dividend to their shareholders. So they're no longer plowing that money directly back into the company. Not always the case, but they're not plowing that money directly into the company. Sometimes they will, once they realize they're kind of tapering off and not such a growth company, they will start paying out dividends because that is the revenue that they are bringing in. But again, that is not always the case. For example, I own Apple. Apple is considered a growth company. They're projected to continue to grow, and they are expanding into more and more markets, increasing their scope. But they do pay a small dividend. Even though they are a growth company, they don't plow all their dividends back into their company, all the profit. They do pay out a small dividend. Now, also note, dividends do grow over time, so it's good to hold on to good companies for long periods of time and compound not only that growth, but also that dividend on top of that share. But if a company becomes financially unwell, the dividend is usually one of the first things to get cut. Not always the case. Like if you look in the case of ExxonMobil, they were playing with the idea of cutting their dividend. Again, a company I own. Now they are a dividend aristocrat, but so they have increased their dividends over the past 25 years. But that was one of the things that had been in jeopardy. And there are dividend aristocrats and dividend kings. Dividend aristocrats, again, have been increasing their dividend for the past 25 years. And a dividend king has been increasing their dividend for the past 50 years. Now, it's super easy to find the list. The list for dividend kings isn't that big. I believe it's like something like 52 companies around that area. But you can do a quick Google search if you're interested in dividend kings. But do note that just because things have been increasing in the past doesn't mean they are going to continue to increase in the future. That is just always something to know. But with that, guys, I hope you learned something here. This is the end of the video. Message me again if you have any questions or any more information you want to add. Especially comment down below if you have something to add, because that is where some people can learn more about these topics as well. But with that being said, guys, make sure you sub, make sure you comment again with any other questions. Check out the links below, because I have my Acorn, which is half of that's going to charity at the end of the year. I have my Robinhood, and I have my Yada down there as well. Also, I have in the description a Instagram. I started Instagram a couple days ago, probably a week now. Go check that out if you would. But with that being said, peace.